Today we're looking at Wednesday, April 17th. This is the regular class. If you're looking for the advanced one, there was no video for today for advanced because they had nothing to videotape. Regular, we're going to be reading together in just a moment to figure out how things are going. We're doing the 7th period experiment. We're going to see how this game goes. Let's see, from there, don't you sass me, children. Bell work, you'll see it up there. If you can't read it real well, it's also on my website. It's called My 6 Words. You are writing a 6-word story, which means you are using exactly 6 words to tell a story about your life. And then you're going to do that twice. Then you're going to do 2 more stories written from the viewpoint of a character in The Outsiders. So as I used before, I talk too much, slow kid. Or I make poor choices, in hall. So something like that where it sort of sums up who you are. Or you could be like, I love soccer, kick the ball. And then you're going to do some from the outsider's viewpoint. I stabbed Bob, he is dead. So we're not going to know who you are until we can sort of like find out the information from there. That's the bell work. And then we also had the homework that was due today. So if you're at home, get the homework done to bring that in. Tomorrow, my goal is to give you guys time to read in class. Because I will not be reading out loud to you. I'm going to read here in a moment, and you guys have time to read tomorrow. As far as tomorrow goes, if you don't want to read with your own brain, you are more than welcome to bring headphones, as long as they are wired headphones, and you can listen to the audiobook on my website. But you have to have your book and follow along with it, as long as you want to do that. Or you can just read the book on your own. But our checkpoint is going to be get to page 99 by beginning of class on Friday. So beginning of page 99, beginning of class on Friday. Ferguson?
It doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
The link?
Yeah, I fixed them. After you guys told me, Monday, I fixed them all. It's amazing what telling me things does. I actually do this thing called work. Yes, silly chillins. So yeah. So now if you go back to it, it's all working and stuff like that. I didn't know it was broken until a kid told me on Monday. So I went and fixed it Monday after school.
Chillins?
Yes.
What is just dumb question?
It's Southern for children.
I thought it was chillin. I thought you said chillin.
No, what's up?
I got a question.
Yes,
so,
Ned.
like, if you're past the checkpoint, may you work on other homeworks while you're reading? Like, I got math and stuff.
Or English. Work on your English homework, then sure. Get the English homework done, and then yes.
I haven't done English.
You've answered all 10 questions? Because you have to do the questions for the homework that was due today.
But can I just like go home and retake that?
No. If it's not taped in today, you don't get to tape it in. You have to answer the questions. That's the whole teaching responsibility thing. All right. Yes, Kristen.
Do I have to read with you guys?
No, because you've already gone ahead. If you're already read ahead, you're welcome to tune me out and keep reading ahead, and that's fine with me as we go through it. So if you want to go to your happy place and tune me out while we read, I'm fine with that too. But the rest of us, we're on page 72, so we can try to help you out from there. We're stuck in the church, and then go into the church to help you out from there. All right. Christy!
Will I be in trouble if I know your iPhone?
Yes, that would put you back after. We don't want to do that. That'd be awful.
I'm done.
What if your homework's on the iPad?
Then you're out of luck right now.
That's on the iPad.
Nev has to be on his iPad. He's right here next to me.
Oh, no.
You have a piece of tape I could use because my notebook's falling
Come see me at the end. I'll hook you up now. Okay. So we're at the part on the left-hand side, page 72, where it says, Johnny handed me the knife. Johnny handed me the knife. He looked scared, too. Cut the front, thin out the rest, and I'll comb it back after I wash it. Johnny, I said tiredly, you can't wash your hair in that freezing water in this weather. You'll get a cold. He only shrugged. Go ahead and cut it. I did the best I could. He went ahead and washed it anyway, using the bar of soap he'd bought. I was glad I had to run away with him instead of with Two-Bit or Steve or Dally. That'd be one thing they would never think of. So I gave him Dally's jacket to wrap up in, and he sat shivering in the sunlight on the back steps, leaning against the door and combing his hair back. It was the first time I could see that he had eyebrows. He didn't look like Johnny. His forehead was wider where his bangs had been. I mean, it would have been funny if we hadn't been so scared. He was still shivering with cold. I guess, he said weakly. I guess we're disguised. I leaned back next to him sullenly. I guess so. Oh, shoot, Johnny said with fake cheerfulness. It's just hair. Yes.
I have a Band-Aid.
Shoot nothing, I snapped. It took me a long time to get that hair just the way I wanted it. Besides, this just ain't us. It's like, I don't know, being in a Halloween costume we can't get out of. Well, we gotta get used to it, Johnny said with finality. We're in big trouble, and it's our looks or us. I started eating a candy bar. I'm still tired. To my surprise, the ground blurred, and I felt tears running down my cheeks. I brushed them off hurriedly. Johnny looked as miserable as I felt. I'm sorry I cut your hair off, pony boy. Oh, it ain't that, I said between bites of chocolate. I mean, not all of it. I'm just a little spooky. I really don't know what's the matter. I'm just mixed up. Lacey.
We're working on our bell work. Do we have to be like bending our voice?
No, that's fine. I know, Johnny said through chattering teeth as we went inside. Things have been happening so fast. I put my arm across his shoulders to warm him up. Two-Bit should have been in that little one-horse town. Sorry, that little one-horse store. Man, we're in the middle of nowhere. The nearest house is 2 miles away. Things were laying out wide open, just waiting for somebody slick like Two-Bit to come and pick them up. He could have walked out with half the store. He leaned back beside me. I could feel him trembling. Good old Two-Bit, he said in a quavering voice. He must have been as homesick as I was. Gia.
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I'm done. Should I put
Remember how he was wisecracking last night? I said. Last night. Just last night we was walking Cherry and Marcia over to Two-Bit's. I mean, just last night we were laying in the lot, looking up at the stars, dreaming. Stop it! Johnny gasped between clenched teeth. Shut up about last night! I killed a kid last night. He couldn't have been over 17 or 18, and I killed him. How'd you like to live with that? He was crying. I held him like Soda had held him that day we found him lying in the lot. I didn't mean to, but they were drowning you, and I was so scared. He was quiet for a minute. There sure is a lot of blood in people. He got up suddenly, began pacing back and forth, slapping his pockets. What are we going to do? I was crying by then. It was getting dark, and I was cold and lonesome. I closed my eyes and leaned my head back, but the tears came anyway. This is my fault, Johnny said in a miserable voice. He had stopped crying when I started. For bringing a little 13-year-old kid along? You ought to go home. You can't get in any trouble. You didn't kill him. No! I screamed at him. I'm 14. I've been 14 for a month, and I'm in it as much as you are. I'll stop crying in a minute. I can't help it. He slumped down beside me. I didn't mean it like that, pony boy. Don't cry, pony. We'll be okay. Don't cry. I leaned against him and bawled until I went to sleep. I woke up late that night. Johnny was resting against the wall. I was asleep on his shoulder. Johnny? You awake? I was warm and sleepy. Yeah, he said quietly. We ain't gonna cry no more, are we? No. We're all cried out now. We're getting used to the idea. I think we're gonna be okay now. Yeah, that's what I thought, I said drowsily. Then for the first time since Dally and I sat down behind those girls at the nightly double, I relaxed. We could take whatever was coming now. The next 4 or 5 days were the longest days I've ever spent in my life. We killed time by reading Gone with the Wind and playing poker. Johnny sure did like that book, although he didn't know anything about the Civil War, even less about plantations, and I had to explain a lot of it to him. It amazed me how Johnny could get more meaning out of some of the stuff in there than I could. I was supposed to be the deep one. Johnny had failed a year in school, never made good grades. He couldn't grasp anything that was shoved at him too fast. I don't know, I guess his teachers thought he was just plain dumb. But he wasn't. He was just a little slow to get things. And he liked to explore things once he did get them. He was especially stuck on the Southern gentlemen, impressed with their manners and charm. I bet they were cool old guys, he said, his eyes glowing, after I'd read the part about them riding into sure death because they were gallant. They remind me of Dally. Dally? Shoot, he ain't got any more manners than I do. And you saw how he treated those girls the other night. Soda's more like them Southern boys. Yeah, well, the manners bit. And the charm too, I guess, Johnny said slowly. But, all right, one night, I saw Dally getting picked up by the fuzz, and he kept real cool and calm the whole time. They was getting him for breaking out the windows in the school building, and it was Two-Bit who did that, and Dally knew it, but he just took the sentence without batting an eye or even denying it. That's gallant. That was the first time I realized the extent of Johnny's hero worship of Dally Winston. Of all of us, Dally was the one I liked the least. He didn't have Soda's understanding, or Dash, or Two-Bit's humor, or even Derry's Superman qualities. But I realized that these three appealed to me because they were like the heroes in the novels I read. Dally was real. I liked my books, and clouds, and sunsets. Dally was so real, he scared me. Johnny and I never went to the front of the church. You could see the front from the road, and sometimes farm kids rode their horses by on their way to the store. So we stayed in the very back, usually sitting on the steps and looking across the valley. We could see for miles, see the ribbon of highway and the small dots that were houses and cars. We couldn't watch the sunset since the back faced east, but I loved looking at the colors of the fields and the soft shadings of the horizon. One morning, I woke up earlier than usual. Johnny and I slept huddled together for warmth. Dally did right when he said it'd get cold where we were going. Being careful not to wake Johnny up, I went to sit on the steps and smoke a cigarette. The dawn was coming then. All the lower valley was covered with mist. Sometimes little pieces of it broke off and floated away in small clouds. The sky was lighter in the east. The horizon was a thin golden line. The clouds changed from gray to pink, and the mist was touched with gold. There was a silent moment when everything held its breath, and then the sun rose. It was beautiful. Golly, Johnny's voice beside me made me jump. That sure was pretty. Yeah, I sighed, wishing I had some paint to do a picture with. Well,
Tomorrow!
tomorrow.
You have to say it like it.
Come on, yeah, come on, wait a
Say what?
Tomorrow!
Tomorrow!
No! You didn't do it right. Come on!
What are you talking about?
Tomorrow!
Tomorrow!
Yeah, it's just a